So I've been in the field of nutrition for a while now, and I've come to realize the connection between vitamin D levels, the and heart health. I think you touched on the heart health aspect of your presentation a little bit, but I guess I wondering if you have any more insight on correlation between vitamin D levels, melanin, and the skin, so skin tone, and then where this might have played a factor in some of the disparities that we've seen.
Yes, I will answer your question with a very circuitous answer, in that I am a gynecologist, and one of my interests has been fibroid tumors, because we know that fibroid tumors occur globally. We don't know why. We know that African American have a higher risk of symptomatic fibroid tumors, and as a result, end up with more surgical procedures. And so the question was, why? Why is that? And one of the potential treatments for fibroids was correction of a vitamin D deficiency. And what we've come to realize is that vitamin D has wonderful properties and has many functions in our body. And there had even been reports that suggested that if you corrected the vitamin D deficiency in women, you either reduced or slowed down the growth of their fibroid tumors. And so I was very excited about that, because I was just frustrated that women only seemed to be offered surgical solutions, whereas there were others who, in other fields, that were clearly identifying that food made a difference, meaning that there are doctors that are reversing cardiovascular disease through food, and that there are doctors who have corrected or reduced the likelihood of cancer through food. And the question is, why not with something so prevalent and so symptomatic as fibroid tumors? And so that's actually how I became interested in vitamins and nutrition, and starting to see food as really seeing food as medicine, and I think that was a real shift for me. Always thought eating well made sense, but to actually see that food as medicine. And so I have been humbled, and I'm finally getting to the answer of your question, by the fact that it's not as simple as we sometimes make it seem. And so there are a lot of interactions that occur within the body as an ingestion of what we eat. And so I tend to now side with the thought that it's not necessarily an individual vitamin or supplement, it's good food. And within that good food, there will be a abundance of nutrients, and how they interact and play together. We don't really have a good understanding of that. And so my answer to your question is, I don't have a lot to say about the benefit of vitamin D. I would rather people focus on the benefit of eating well.
Agreed. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. I'm definitely, being in my old health journey, I definitely can share that same belief. And thank you for that insight, though, as far as a gynecologist. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Alejandro, for that. Thank you, Dr. Rahman. It looks like we don't have any hands raised yet. Let me just explain to people who haven't, who just maybe came into this meeting. All you have to do is basically go to your reactions tab at the bottom of the Zoom window, and then hit the reactions tab, and there's a raise hand function there where you can click it, and then we'll see you in the participants window. So, oh, and looks like we have another person. Okay, we have Donna. Donna, what's your question for Dr. Rahman?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay, my question is, if we are to get our nourishment from food, what about the food that's grown in depleted soils? How do you respond to that?
That's a good question, because in researching this, we know that plastics are not only in the water, but plastics are in our soil, and that affects our crops and the development and the nutrient dense properties of the food that we are exposed to. And so that's a real risk. I say that's where we need more study and more intervention. I mean, does it mean that in addition to eating well and eating minimally processed foods, we still need to add supplements? That might be it. Or do we get a sufficient amount with what we have? I don't know where we stand on that. I don't know how deficient our foods are. And so it's hard to make a determination of what's needed if we don't know what we're dealing with.